Hey everyone, before we dive into today's video, I wanted to take a moment to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Paladin Cards. If you're a fan of collectible card games such as Elestrals, Pokemon, and Magic, you're going to love what Paladin Cards has to offer. They provide an amazing selection of cards to choose from and such amazing deals. They are a veteran-owned and community-focused company. As a fellow veteran, it's an honor and privilege getting to partner with and support Paladin Cards as a veteran to another veteran. I do most of my bulk buying for Elestrals through Paladin Cards. They have amazing bundle deals and cases for sale. Not many other places offer that. Right now, Elestrals is starting pre-orders for their newest set, Moonrise. And the deals are out of this world, and I recommend buying from them. I know I have. So if you want to level up your game nights, check out Paladin Cards. You can find the link in the description below. And don't forget to use my code LUNARIANS for a 5% discount on top of these amazing deals. Thank you for supporting the channel and our awesome sponsor, Paladin Cards. Now let's get back to the video. Greetings Lunarians old and new, with SorenPlays back again with another episode of Mythological Monday. Today is the final episode before we go on our hiatus till Moonrise comes out. So this is the final episode. It's going to be a relatively short one because there's only 4 runes based in mythology that we haven't gone over so far for Daybreak. So let's dive right into it. The first one you see on the board, or on the screen, is Golden Fleece. Golden Fleece is the artifact of Daybreak. It's a really interesting card where the Empowered Elestral gets +2 defense, and then if the Empowered Elestral would be destroyed in battle or by opponent's card effect, you can destroy Golden Fleece instead, so it's a built-in protection card. So, Golden Fleece in mythology is a mythical treasure in Greek mythology that appears in the story of Jason and the Argonauts, which is what Daybreak is based on, Jason and the Argonauts, in case you didn't know. The Golden Fleece is a fleece of a winged ram named Chrysomalis, who in Elestrals is represented by Cyphermal, which is why Cyphermal is the searcher for Golden Fleece. So what the ram did was he saved children Phrixus and Helle from being sacrificed by their stepmother. Phrixus sacrificed the ram to the god Zeus and gave its fleece to King Aeetes of Colchis, who hung it in a grove guarded by a dragon, and we'll get into the dragon more briefly as the guardian of the fleece in a minute. We've talked about in a previous video who the dragon is, but I'll mention it again. Jason and the Argonauts were then sent to retrieve the fleece from Aeetes during their quest. So not much is there. It's a really cool card. It's seen a lot of play, especially in artifacts. Even if it's not properly enchanted, it's still relatively good. I use it in my Wasp Ivy deck, which I will do a deck builder video on because my Wasp Ivy deck is a little different from other people's Wasp Ivy decks. So that's why I'm going to do a video on it. It got me 32nd in the last Premier tournament. I made a mistake in my very first round that probably cost me at least top 16 because I did a misplay, and I'll get into that in the video, but that's neither here nor there. Next, we have Guardian of the Fleece. Guardian Fleece is a very interesting counter rune that plays really well with Golden Fleece. So, Guardian of the Fleece can only be cast when an opponent activates a card effect that targets an artifact or Empowered Elestral on your field. You negate that effect and then destroy a card on that opponent's field. Ooh, actually, Guardian of the Fleece is a little better than what I thought it was. Interesting. Okay, I might have to reevaluate Guardian of the Fleece because it's a little strong. So what Guardian of the Fleece says, as I just read, so if a card effect that targets an artifact or Empowered Elestral on your field, you negate it and destroy a card on that field. That would go really well with Lavalith, I'm pretty sure. If your opponent tries to Lavalith you, instead of you having their Gorgons, you can use Guardian of the Fleece to stop and negate it and then destroy it. I think that's a lot better. Interesting. Okay. But anyway, Guardian of the Fleece. Let me read into the mythology of it. So, the Guardian of the Fleece is known as the Colchian Dragon. He was a giant watchful serpent which guarded the fleece in the sacred grove of Ares in Colchis, hence Colchian Dragon. When Jason and Argonauts came to fetch the fleece, the beast was either slain by the hero or was put to sleep by the witch Medea, who fed it a potion. One version of the story, preserved only in vase painting, Jason was first devoured and disgorged by the dragon. I really like that story. That's kind of interesting. because it's only in that one version that he was actually eaten first by the dragon. I don't know what happened that he was able to escape the dragon. I'd have to look more into it. So then, after the dragon was defeated, his teeth was harvested by the king for their magical properties. He commanded Jason to sow them in a sacred field of Ares with a plow drawn by 5 breathing bulls. When they were seated, a tribe of warlike men, the Spartai, sprang up fully grown from the earth. The teeth closely resembled the Sminian dragon of Thebes. So the teeth of another dragon that was similar to him also produced a similar crop of men, but that was done by Cadmus. So in Elestrals, the Colchian dragon is Lestragon. I've gone over this before with Lestragon, that he's the dragon on the artwork, and he's a Colchian dragon. It's really cool how they've tied a lot of these Elestrals runes together like this to tell a cohesive story with Daybreak. None of the other sets were really like that, and I really like how this one does. Moonrise is sort of similar, I guess, not really, in a different aspect of things. That one tells more of a different kind of story. Well, this one is more stapled in like mythology compared to all the others, so I really approve of it. Now, to continue on with this tied connection, we have Argo. Argo is a really powerful counter card that has started to see a massive upswift just because of the potential that Argo can swing into your balance, especially with like Poison Tunic or the one that's a lot of people have been playing, the Necklace of Harmonia, where you play 4, you get out Necklace of Harmonia, and any Elestral that's basically attacking your Elestral will be destroyed in battle. It's really strong, especially if your opponent has like a 2 or 3 cost, and they're trying to swing over one of your 1 cost, and your 1 cost is, or 2 cost is really strong, and then the Necklace of Harmonia just gives you enough to beat over that 3 cost. It's really devastating. It can completely swing the clash into your favor. So, in case you didn't know, the name is Jason and the Argonauts. Hence Argo. Argo is their ship. I mean, it's enough said. So it was a ship of Jason and the Argonauts. The ship was built with divine aid, and some ancient sources describe her as the first ship to sail the seas, which is really cool. The Argo carried the Argonauts on the quest for the Golden Fleece, and after the journey, the ship was retired and dedicated to Poseidon, the divine ruler of the seas. I mean, it makes sense. If it's the very first ship to sail the seas, it was probably blessed by Poseidon as the divine aid to carry it, and thus giving it back to Poseidon. It just clicks. Now, as you see on the artwork, you have Verituka, very cool card, and then you have Eddie. Speaking of Eddie, this ties into the next card and final card of the set that we're going over, Rock in a Hard Place. Now, everyone knows the saying, oh, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, there's an idiom that's derived from Greek mythology that's similar to rock and hard place, called being between Scylla and Charybdis. So it's associated with the proverbial advice to choose the lesser of 2 evils. So in case of rock and hard place, it's the tentacles or the whirlpool. So as I said it before in previous videos, Charybdis and Scylla are represented in Elestrals by Charybdis and Drakking. Drakking, I forget which one's which. It's been a while since I did my research on which is which. So they were both mythical sea monsters noted by Homer. Greek mythology centered them on opposite sides of the Strait of Messina between Sicily and Calabria on the Italian mainland. Oh, here we go. Scylla was rationalized as a rock troll, described as a 6-headed sea monster on the Calabrian side of the strait. So in this case, Scylla is Drakking, and Charybdis was a whirlpool off the coast of Sicily, and that's obviously Charybdis, as you can see from the teeth. They were regarded as maritime hazards located closely enough to each other that they posed an inescapable threat to passing sailors. Avoiding Charybdis meant passing too close to Scylla and vice versa. According to Homer's account, Odysseus was advised to pass by Scylla and lose only a few sailors rather than risk the loss of his entire ship in the whirlpool. So, I mean, in this case, Rock and Hard Place, as the card reads, it cannot be countered by counter runes, which is really strong. And you target a rune and a Elestral on an opponent's field, and that opponent destroys one of them. So that's where the tough choice comes in. Do you destroy your Elestral or do you destroy your back row? If your back row is really important, you get rid of your Elestral, but that just might open the board for your opponent. On the other hand, if you get rid of your back row, your monster might not have protection if you only have one back row. What's even more devastating is if you have a Drat Kid or a Eddie on the field when Rock and Hard Place is played, you can special ascend them into Kerbis or Drat King respectfully. So deciding on what you want to get rid of is even more important. Because if you get rid of your back row and you have no more back row, and your opponent goes into Drat King, they can just attack over your Elestral and then they can take control of that Elestral. So it's really cool to see these cards and how they interact. Like I said earlier, previous sets don't really have that kind of cohesiveness between so many different cards and their effects. So it's really cool that they did this for Daybreak and all of them tied together so well. You can basically get the full story of the mythology just from the cards and the card effects. I really hope to see more of this moving forward in future sets. Not have them be based on elements, even though Daybreak was based solely on introducing the solar element, but being able to tell a story through those cards. So once again, it was a really short video. We're going on a hiatus till the end, or when when Moonrise officially comes out. I know the cards have already been revealed, but I would like to wait till the cards get officially revealed to kind of reduce the wait between sets. So this is SorenPlays signing off. I really hope you've liked Mythological Mondays so far. It's a really fun series to go over it. I've had a few people come out and say thanks for this because it's really fun and entertaining. But yeah, I really hope you appreciate it. This is SorenPlays signing off. Bye.